Hello, this is Chuck Ridgway, Automation Technology Manager at Horner. Thanks for joining us for another Tuesday live stream. Well, I'm especially excited today because we're doing something a little bit different. We are going application solving with Andrew Jagger. Now, Andrew is one of my favorite colleagues. Andrew works for PowerMation, which just happens to be the largest OCS distributor in North America. And not only is Andrew an expert at the Horner OCS all-in-one controller, but he's an expert at a bunch of other automation products that PowerMation sells, and he spends a fair amount of time solving applications, very often involving the Horner OCS. And today, because we're doing something different, you'll notice that we're going to spend a bulk of our time having a conversation with Andrew, and then we're also going to show a recent application video that Andrew did showing the Horner OCS and the Banner Engineering Safety Controller. Now, Horner does not offer safety as an integral part of our product line, but we interface very well with a number of safety products, including the Banner unit. And Andrew did a great job creating a video to help one of his customers, and I'm sure lots of customers are going to have the opportunity to take advantage of that video that Andrew created. Okay, let's go ahead and bring in my colleague, Andrew Jagger. How are we doing today, Andrew?
Hey, Chuck. How are you? I'm doing well.
I'm doing terrific. Now, probably quite a few folks who are watching this have met Andrew before, but not everybody has.
Being out there in the world.
Absolutely. He's out there and available. So tell us about yourself, Andrew.
I work here at PowerMation. We're a distributor in the Midwest area. I've been at PowerMation for 15 years. Started as tech support for 4 of them, so I sat behind the phone, answered all of your calls, and tried to help you out as much as I could. Then in 2012, I started doing the PLC logic specialist, PLC specialist type of role, and that grew into the business development manager, where I manage all of the controls products, logic control products, and HMI. So the stuff that you'd see back here in my panel that I built.
Awesome. We both have that in common. I love to build stuff, demos, whatever, live stream setups, you name it. It's fun. I just built a bunch of PID demos for our IEC training that's coming up or here pretty soon. So that was very cool. Hey, so where'd you go to school?
I went to Hamlin University, and I got a degree in physics, math, and economics. So
wow.
3 things of applied math, all that nerdy, geeky stuff.
That is seriously nerdy. Very cool. So how did you go from like physics and economics, and how'd you get into automation?
I'll say I fell into it. I'm not sure. 2008 was when I was trying to find a job. There wasn't really much open out there, so you're just trying to find any job possible. And PowerMation hired me somehow. I did the PLC training.
Right.
And then Terry Bush, my coworker, he's still here. He had me take his class for a week, and then a week later, I got a job offer. So it was kind of weird how that all worked out.
Worked out pretty well, though, I would say.
I like what I'm doing, so
excellent.
enjoy it every day.
You bet. Okay, so one of the things that I know that you do from time to time is you'll do, even though we have factory training here at Horner in Indianapolis, you guys at PowerMation, and you specifically, Andrew, put on some pretty good training of your own. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so from person-to-person perspective, we kind of do a one-on-one training for you if you ever need that kind of in-person help. So you can always reach out to us. I'd do a Zoom call with you or a Teams call, and then if you want, we can do customers training at our facility or at your customer or at your facility, and you'd hire us to do that. It's a 1-day class, and it's really a basic PLC training, but then I do get into the weeds about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the day, and we get into higher level networking, some of the communication protocols, and at the end, hopefully you can send yourself an email on an alarm, right, and kind of get that garage door application all the way into a IIoT garage door application.
Very cool. Awesome. So PowerMation's got a pretty good sized footprint in the Midwest. You guys, as a matter of fact, are our largest U.S. distributor. What are the locations that you support? At least what are the states where you guys are located?
Yeah, I live in St. Paul, right? So that's Minnesota. And then we have Region 1, which is St. Paul, Minnesota area, and then North and South Dakota. So that's the main region. Then we have Region 2, which is Wisconsin, and then Region 3 is Illinois, and Region 4 is Iowa. And so I get to support the entire PowerMation area, which is why I like doing the virtual calls as well. But if you have the opportunity for me to join you in person, I will be right there next to you.
Excellent. So obviously you're very good with the Horner controllers, and you support a lot of other products as well. What are some of the other products and manufacturers that you guys represent there at PowerMation?
Yeah, so from PowerMation perspective, we have PLCs, we have sensors, and we have drives and motors and things that spin like that. So we started off at PowerMation, I think it was 1961, and we were essentially known as the sensor people. And with sensors, you need cables. And so we have the sensors, we have the cables with Turk and Banner and a whole bunch of other sensors, maybe the encoders like you did with Kubler today.
Sure.
That type of thing. But then we go up the chain of automation where you get into the PLCs, and we have the Horner controller, we have Emerson controllers, we have Phoenix controllers. Really, you can come to PowerMation and say, I need automation. And we say, what color do you want? Do you want a black one, a green one, a blue one, a yellow one? But essentially, it's a PLC, and we can help you solve that application. And then we even get up to the higher level automation where you get a industrial computer that you're doing some higher level program that maybe is talking to your ERP system or your SCADA system and trying to get into that kind of automation.
Yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff. That's some of that Industry 4.0 stuff that people are taking a look at these days for sure. So from the standpoint of you mentioned, you've got a lot of manufacturers you're supporting, a lot of different types of products, from sensors to drives, motors, you name it. So what are some of the kind of solutions that you've kind of put together for customers or problems you've helped them solve?
Good question. That is kind of one of the things that PowerMation business development managers kind of love doing. I love getting my hands on a new product that needs to play with another new product and trying to figure out how best to do that, best in class, maybe with the barcode scanner into the Horner controller, or we're talking IO Link a lot of the time, and how do you get the Horner controller talking to an IO Link master talking to IO Link sensor.
Sure.
And that could be 3 separate manufacturers, and maybe a Horner specialist wouldn't know how the Banner specialist works unless you've done that, which you have.
Right.
And then you have that one sensor that you're trying to get pulled into the network, and that just makes any machine integrator crazy. And you can come to PowerMation and you can say, hey, have you done this? Have you seen this done before? And we can say, yeah. And it removes the risk from that engineer, and it makes it like an easy button where we do the first 10, 30, 40% of that application, and then they can just add the bells and whistles and make sure that it looks pretty and follows the standards of what the HMI or the automation needs, and change the timer a little bit, right? So they're not re-engineering every single time.
That's right. And that's a lot of what I think we're all trying to do. I mean, from a manufacturer's perspective, we can't make everything. We try and make the very best all-in-one controllers you can find out there in the market. But, we're not making barcode readers. We're not into safety necessarily. And one of the things that caught my eye was a video that you did where you showed, in a real practical sense, how to integrate Banner safety controller with a Horner OCS. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because we're going to show your video here in a few minutes.
Oh, great. So I was asked by one of our salespeople to the customer already used the Banner safety controller, right? And they were intrigued about getting more information out of that safety controller into their PLC. And I said, well, they could use hardwiring and remote IO type of setup and trying to pull back the physical wires, but why don't they take advantage of the Ethernet port that's already built into that banner safety controller?
Sure.
And so the sales rep said, well, show me how that would be done. And so I kind of had to do a little bit of homework to figure out how the banner safety controller works. It's not part of my explicit responsibilities to understand that product, but as a automation nerd and one that wants to get your hands dirty, figure out how things work, I took an afternoon and figured that out. And so I did talk to the banner support. They helped me out greatly. They got me a demo system, which I have sitting next to me right here.
Very good.
Right? And I was able to power it up, get connected over Ethernet, get the Horner controller connected over Ethernet, and be able to pull the parameters out of it. And it was really just to help a customer use a product that they're already using, but at a higher level and more, I don't know how to say it, just more
tightly integrated, really.
Sorry?
A more tightly integrated way.
Tightly integrated way, yeah, correct.
Sure, absolutely. And that afternoon that you spent and a video that you created are going to save plenty of other people afternoons figuring all that out where you've done that for them. So that's terrific. Okay.
Yeah, I hope it's an easy button for them.
There you go. Absolutely. Great idea. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop right here. We'll bring Andrew back after we show his video, but let's check out Andrew's video where he shows how you can integrate the banner safety controller with the Horner OCS using Modbus TCP protocol.
Jagger, work at Powermation. I'm the business development manager for controls products. And I was asked the other day if Horner Automation has a safety controller. Unfortunately, they do not have embedded safety controller in their PLC line. However, at Powermation, we partner with Banner. Banner Engineering is out of Plymouth, Minnesota, and they do have world-class safety controller that works really well with the Horner controller. So I thought I'd give you a little overview on how that is functioning inside the controller. And starting off, I have up here the Banner website. So the part number is the XS26-2DE. This safety controller is expandable, so you can put safety IO to the right of it. It also has an embedded Ethernet port just out the top there. There's a lot of other functions in here. In that Ethernet port, I'm going to pull up the programming software here. Under Industrial Ethernet, we have a whole host of protocols that it can support. With the Horner controller, we'd be looking at using the Modbus TCP protocol. But if you are using an Allen Bradley PLC, you'd be using one of the Ethernet IP protocols. Or if you have an Emerson PLC or a Siemens PLC, you'd be using Profinet. And then a lot of other manufacturers may use EtherCAT. I'm not familiar with that one, but the other three I am. So within Modbus TCP, they have this little button here that you can do an auto configure, and it creates your Modbus mapping for that. Minimize that. With the Ethernet IP, you can go under downloads, and they have something called a AOI, so an add-on instruction is what that stands for. You can take these add-on instructions and bring them into your Allen Bradley programming software. From a Horner perspective, we don't have that type of functionality because that's not how Modbus works. And so what we need to do is we need to go under protocols, and we create a network protocol for Modbus TCP. I always give it a status register so we can double check and make sure it's working. Go under devices, you can create a banner device. For example, this one here, we have a IP address of 192.168.0.128. Again, we're using a status register to make sure everything is working. And then in this case, we're using the 5-digit addressing. Now, if we go back to the banner system here, the 5-digit addressing comes up here, 10,001 through 10,015. So inside the Horner controller, we have the scan list where we are just doing read access to this of 10,001, length 16. So Modbus likes you doing things in 16, so I did 16. It's fine to access more data than it's there. And then within the Horner controller, you can actually do an edit names, and I've gone through and added variable names that line up with the functions of all of these IO that was created using this auto configure. Previously on the demo that we have, it has a e-stop circuit. It has a 2-hand control circuit. It also has light curtains and a gate switch. So gate switch here, light curtains here, and that gate switch light curtain actually has a muting function. So we have a muting function here, which allows us to open up the gate. Actually, open up go into the light curtain during that timeout of that light curtain being in mute. So we have the IO built in there, and then inside the Horner we have the IO mapped. I don't even have any logic built up here, and I'm able to create a screen that looks at all the variables here, and I can log in to the Horner controller, and we can see a live function of this. 60. This is called Envision RV, which allows you to do a little live view of what's going on inside the controller. So here's an example of the Horner screen. I'm using an XL7. On the demo itself, there's the e-stop button and a reset button. So reset needed is being flashed. So I'll click the reset button. You'll see that I have the safe output 1 gets triggered, safe output 2 B is triggered, and the relay output is triggered. E-stop is true. 2-hand control is not currently on. Gate switch is closed. Light curtain is closed. Muting sensors are off. So then I can go into the safety logic, and I can go under live mode. And under live mode, you're able to see the status of your safety controller as well. For example, if I break the e-stop, the safety circuit 1 drops out. In my Horner, I also have the safety circuit drop out here. I can do the reset again. And if I do the 2-hand control, the safe output 2A will be triggered. If I go into the safety logic, 2-hand control is true. And so it triggers safe 2A output. So you can see the status happening here. On the muting of the light curtain, that's the muting signal. What did we call that? There's a specific term for that. So if I go under configuration summary, we call those muting sensor pair, MSP is where that's coming from. So muting sensor pair input, if I press both those in, I have 10 seconds of the ability to go in through the light curtain, break the light curtain, come out before it triggers that alarm. If I go in with the muting and the light curtain stays broken for more than 10 seconds, which is part of the configuration down here on the left-hand side of this muting, I now have dropped out of safe, and safe output 2B is lost. And so it's no longer safe to enter into that robot cell or whatever that light curtain was protecting. I can hit the light curtain back on, and that signal will be green again. And so the Horner controller is pulling in that logic all over Modbus and displaying it on the screen. So I will send out this demonstration program and any details and other files to go along with it. But thanks for watching, and give me a call if you have any questions. Thanks.
All right. That was Andrew Jagger from Powermation with a terrific video showing how to integrate the Horner OCS and the Banner safety controller. So we're bringing Andrew back in. Great job, Andrew.
Hey, thank you, Chuck.
I got to ask you, I've never asked you this. We've probably worked together for pretty much all of those 15 years, or close to it at least, that you've been in Powermation. So are you related to Mick Jagger?
Oh, well, I'll say maybe. All right. So Jagger, from my dad's side, he came across from Canada,
okay,
and moved into Michigan, probably about
God's
50
country,
years
by
ago.
the way. That's where I'm from. Anyway,
Sorry?
continue.
Oh,
It's
Michigan.
God's country. I'm from Michigan, but continue on.
Yeah, we love Michigan. And then before Canada, they were in York, in England, and back, and so they have history of, trying to figure out the history of everything.
Sure. The lineage and all that stuff.
Mick Jagger has relatives that go all the way back to York, England as well. And he had a Mike Jagger in 1780 was one of his
relatives,
great relatives, whatever. And I also had a Mike Jagger back in 1780s. But I mean, Mike's a very random name. No one has Mike as a name ever, right?
It's very uncommon. So, okay, good. Well, I hope
maybe.
Yeah, I hope at some point that scored you some backstage passes for the Rolling Stones. Let's hear about that.
Well, we have seen the Rolling Stones a couple times. My mom got us tickets for the concert last year. It was 10 of us. And there was some situation with the floor tickets. They removed our chairs or whatever, and so they gave my parents front stage pit 1 passes.
Wow.
And apparently they weren't supposed to do that, but my mom already got the pass and she took off running, so we just waved at her and said,
before they changed their mind, right? Exactly.
Concert. Yeah.
Awesome.
She was gone. She was like, I got my pass, I'm gone.
To heck with you guys. Okay, well, it's been awesome hanging out with you today, Andrew, and great job on that video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on my next trip to Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
All right, take care.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay, just to reiterate, the specific Banner safety controller that Andrew presented in his video is the Banner XS26-2DE. So we've got the product page displayed for you here, of course, from bannerengineering.com. And if you're located in Powermation's service area, I'm sure Andrew or one of his colleagues would love to talk to you about that particular product. Speaking of Powermation, if you're located in the Midwest and you're interested in learning more about Powermation and the types of services as well as products that they offer, including, of course, the Horner OCS, then check out www.powermation.com. And thanks once again to Andrew for joining us today. Okay, this is the part of the program where I remind you that we're here every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, streaming a new video live, whether it's fully live or whether it's pre-recorded. And we always have someone standing by to answer any questions you might have in the chat section. And if you're watching on replay, like a lot of you do, give us those comments and questions in the comment section. We love to see those, and if it's a question, we'll reply to you just as soon as we can. Okay, here's a reminder that we're celebrating our 10th year with the Horner Lighting Group, and one thing I will say is that Emily, in our marketing group, has been working very hard on some new lighting videos, along with Nate from the lighting group, And you should check those out on the Horner APG YouTube channel right alongside the great automation content we have there. Okay, upcoming training. Mid-October, we have basic training. Mid-November, we've got advanced OCS training. So go to our website, get signed up before those fill up. All right, we've got 2 trade shows coming up in October I want to tell you about. October 2 through 4, we've got the WEFTech show. That's a water industry show. And October 23rd through the 25th, we've got the Process Expo. Both of those are at the McCormick Place Convention Center in Chicago. You can see the booth numbers there. And in both cases, I'll be there, and I would love to say hi and to show you a lot of the new Horner products. Next week, we've got a real treat for you, and that is we're going to be covering the Horner Solutions Chart Recorder. This is a new product from Horner. One of the products we'll be showing at the WEFTech show, for instance. And joining us is going to be one of my favorite colleagues at Horner and one of your favorites, from what I hear, and that is Mr. Nate Beachy. So Nate is our trainer. He's an amazing engineer, and Nate has been involved in really programming and engineering this new Horner Solutions Chart Recorder. So we're going to get Nate on here, and we're going to talk all about that new product. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with a video that we did at Horner with the marketing group, there is a video called Nate Unhinged. It's an outtakes video the marketing group put together based on a lot of outtakes from Nate's videos that he was making, and it is a hoot. So go to the Horner YouTube channel or search Google for Nate Unhinged Horner and check that out. You won't want to miss that for sure. Okay, now if you haven't subscribed to our channel, don't hesitate to do so. It doesn't cost anything. And if you choose notifications when you subscribe, you'll be notified every time we go live or every time we post a new video. Okay, so until next week when we have some fun with Nate, let's all get out there and do us some good.